Hello, everyone. It's William and Andrew here from Allegory Gallery and Star Cottage Studio.
Yes, it's been a while since I've been on.
Mhm.
I've been busy taking workshops like it's my job.
He has been. Lucky him.
So I haven't really been on. But I got an update for Star Cottage Studio.
That's right. So if you're watching this video on Facebook, please hit that share button. And if you're looking on YouTube, please hit subscribe. So let's take everyone around. There's Susan. Hello, Susan. Thank you for tuning in.
You may be like, why are they in the dark?
Why are we in the dark?
Because we have a reveal.
A reveal.
Who likes a reveal?
I do.
I know I do.
I do too.
Flip it, William.
Let's flip it. Okay, let's flip it. Flip it. Hold on, everyone. You know, it takes us a little bit longer to flip.
Boy, it does.
I know, right? Ta-da!
Whoa.
Whoa.
Let me turn on the lights in here. Oh, I turned it off.
That is the light.
Never mind.
We need more lights in here. So we started putting our tiles, tin tiles, metal tiles on the ceiling.
Yeah, we have more work to go, but I think it looks pretty good.
Let's see if we can let me come in here and show you kind of.
Eventually we're going to paint the tiles so it's not quite disco vibe because it's pretty shiny.
It's like a discotheque in here.
It is. I'll show you.
There you go.
Welcome to the club, y'all. So we're gonna paint that.
Gonna paint that.
So
tone it down a little bit, but it's gonna go all the way up here and all the way down.
The back.
Yep.
And so, and like that hole, while we're up there, we're gonna patch that hole. And there's a couple other things that we're gonna do.
Kelly O'Brien says, looks awesome.
I think it looks good. It looks a little bit more clean, you know. So it's a nice streamlined, continuous surface. So I think that that'll be nice. I mean, it's not exactly 100% perfect because we're not professional ceiling tile installers. But for what we did, I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's working out.
Yeah. And at first, when we first did it, I was like, there's a mistake, and there's a mistake, and there's a mistake. But it's been a week, and I haven't seen it. And when I came in here, honestly, I couldn't see the problems. So I think that's a good lesson that sometimes you just have to walk away. And then when you come back, you're refreshed, and you're like, whoa.
And your favorite quote these days, done is better than perfect.
Correct.
Gina says, was it hard to install?
It wasn't easy.
And there was blood.
But I won't talk about it.
But we still have this yet to do. We had to get a new ladder because our ladder wasn't high enough for this. So we had to buy another ladder so that we can reach that
the high part.
The high part.
I still don't know how we're both going to get up there.
I know. It's going to be dangerous.
But in an okay way.
In an okay way. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So.
Who's ready?
Who's ready? Let me spin around or.
Who's ready?
Do it. Do it. Lights. Lights. What's going on? Dimmable lights.
Whoa.
Look how fancy he is in his studio with dimmable lights.
So if you remember, we only had these two lights here. And we also had the peripheral lights that never turned off.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have lights throughout the studio.
And we recessed them so that when you look, you don't see the lights.
Yeah.
They're not like in your face.
They're also LED lights. So they are super energy efficient and they don't get super hot.
That's right.
And
they're dimmable.
They're dimmable. And we also got to pick the color.
Yes.
It comes in 3 colors. It comes in like a daylight which is a bluish light to me. There's the neutral light, which is what it's on now, and then there's the warm light.
So there's a total of 6 lights only it took with these nice bright LEDs to light it up in here.
And once we finish some of the painting and the ceiling, I think it'll be even brighter. And then once we sand the wall and just oil it, because I'm not gonna stain it dark again. I'm just gonna keep it, kind of light and natural.
Yeah.
I think this will be super bright. A super bright space.
It's gonna be awesome.
So that was one of the biggest things, is the new lights in the studio.
That's one of the biggest things to getting him in here.
I know. So we just have to finish sanding the walls.
He's already starting to think about where each zone is gonna be.
Which has been interesting. We have to build some furniture. We're gonna take the wood that's from the counters. And did you show them the panels? Did you zoom in on the panels?
Which panels?
These panels. So to turn the lights on in here, you have to go out here.
Yes.
So now there's a panel here.
That turns lights on and off.
And then there's also this panel here that has the dimmer switch. Y'all, this fancy, y'all. And then
look at that. I love these dimmers.
Yeah, that's nice. So not only did we have that done, but we had what else did they do? They put this as a new panel.
New switch here.
I don't think that one dims.
No.
But it can.
We can add another light here if we want. Add another for another thing or.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we have room.
And then.
And.
So this wood that we were taking out, we're going to turn into tables, work tables, so it doesn't go to waste.
Workbenches.
So that'll be fun. We saw Martha Stewart make a fence, and I said, if Martha Stewart can make a fence by herself, not even with helpers, then we can make a couple of tables.
That's right. And I'll just remind you all out there, we see some more people tuning in. If you would hit that share button, that would really be appreciated. If you like what you're seeing, we are giving a progress report on Star Cottage Studio. And we want more and more people to know about what we're doing here. So please hit that share button. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe.
Yeah, hit that bell.
Hit that bell everywhere.
So today we also met with a contractor.
Mm-hmm. Plumbing.
This morning I was supposed to meet with a contractor who was going to do some excavation work for us, but we ended up having to reschedule that. But we did meet with the one contractor who is going to give us an estimate of bringing plumbing in.
Yes, plumbing into this room. So we're imagining like water heater, closet over here.
Yeah, originally we were going to put the bathroom
The bathtub
here.
was going to be here.
But the thing is that it has to be 100 feet.
Yeah, if we go over 100 feet from the road to bring water in, because the contractor actually has a place around here and said his water is orange from iron. So we figured our well water may not be great. So to bring in water, if we can keep it under 100 feet, then we don't have to dig a special trench to put a...
There's a pit that you have to build for a meter.
For the meter pit. So
we can have the meter inside, and then we don't have to worry about it being an issue.
Right. So we're bringing the water heater and the meter here, probably. And we'd like
probably close up this.
Yes, of course.
And we're going to still leave it recessed. So it'll be like a little alcove in there. But so that'll be there. There'll be a we'll put some paneling over that, put a piece of plywood or something, and then put paneling over it. We've got extra.
We've got extra.
And then in here is the maintenance closet. So hot water heater, meter, and potentially we can put washer and dryer, but we decided that we're not going to be doing an Airbnb like we originally thought. Mainly because if we have people staying, I won't be able to work. So, so that was kind of in the like originally we didn't really know how the cottage would flow, and if we would need the side revenue. So if we have like our friends or teachers or people like that staying here, that's one thing. But it's another thing if we have like guests staying, so we won't and staying regularly. So instead of doing that, we are going to, um, it's changed a little bit. So originally, what we were thinking is that we would block this off and make it like a door so that you can come and go here. But this would only be the store section in here. This area in here, the concrete area, would be part of the living quarters for the Airbnb. And so the bathroom and kitchen would be in here. And then my studio and office would be completely separate. So in order to make that work, we would have to create an entrance here so that Airbnb guests could come and go. But since we're not doing that anymore, we don't need the door anymore. So that'll save money.
And space.
And space, because you need clearance for the door. Then we would have to excavate out in front and build all this stuff so that people could come and go. It wasn't as simple as just cutting a hole in the wall, and hanging a door, which in itself is not that easy, but, it's more complicated than that. So since we don't have to do that anymore, it's kind of freed up how we can configure things. So we'll have the maintenance closet there. We'll have the bathroom here.
Probably a toilet here, a sink here, a shower over here.
And then we'll just have the kitchen area along the back.
So we're planning the sink under the window, of course, and then probably a stove over here and a refrigerator along this wall.
Yeah. But we could also put the refrigerator on that side
in that
too,
corner.
or put the stove there, or vice versa.
So we have more room to play with now.
Yeah. So, and then that frees up, since there's nobody going to be walking there, we can put an island if we wanted to. But since this is also a concrete floor, for the temporary time being until we start really construction, I'm going to use it for some of my metals projects because I don't want to mess up the floors in my studio. But also, there's these, when I was at Touchstone, I had that in the blacksmith shop, there were these anti-fatigue mats, which were really awesome, but they don't catch fire. So that would be really cool to put in sections where there'll be hot stuff so we don't damage the floors. And also, so I don't, I'll be standing all day or, on my feet. So that will help, like two birds with one stone, but they're kind of pricey. So we just kind of have to, wait and see how we're going to have that all jiggle out. I've also been researching fume extractors so that I can safely solder and do a bunch of stuff that, right now I kind of just like crack the window open and turn on a fan.
Molly said, might be interesting having a bathroom right near your kitchen, just saying. Except that's kind of a thing around here. There's a lot of houses that actually have bathrooms right off the kitchen.
Yeah.
Or dining rooms.
So the issue of putting the kitchen near the bathroom is that the water is together.
Yeah.
If we separate them into completely separate areas, it'll be super expensive. Now, if we are running stuff throughout the entire building, and putting like a bathroom upstairs and doing stuff there and there, then it wouldn't be an issue. The other thing is that if we have good ventilation for the bathroom and it's soundproofed, it's not like a huge thing, like because you can turn on a fan, an exhaust fan.
Oh yeah.
And also, if we soundproof it, then it won't be like you're listening to people poop and smelling it. But we're on a budget, so we can't.
And there's really not a lot of places to put.
Well, originally, if you want to talk about like old school idea, this was all going to be store.
Yeah.
This all was going to be the store.
From over here all the way through here.
And there was going to be a door here.
We were going to cut kind of through here.
Or here.
Or here.
And then build an addition on that was going to have the kitchen.
It was going to be a 2-story addition. And
it was going to have an angle. It was like all windows so that the light would come in. But we didn't win the lotto. So unfortunately, we can't do that. And also, we would then need to have pretty extensive permits done, which doing these kinds of things, we don't have to do like a ton of work because it's not a lot of structural work.
No.
There is permits that we have to get, possibly, potentially, depending on the septic systems.
Yeah, that's another thing is our holding tank we're putting in.
So there you go, the poop hole.
The poop hole. The new poop hole.
The new poop hole version 3.0 or whatever it is. So originally, when we looked at the property, we knew that we were going to have to do something for septic. We didn't know if they were going to bring some, public sewer out. So that's kind of like on the fence still. We don't know. They're working on an idea for it, but who knows because it's out of our hands. So if they do bring it in, we didn't want to spend $25,000 on a sand mound if we didn't have to.
Right.
And just putting in the septic system and the bathroom and putting running water in the building will increase the value of our property significantly, which is super important, not only for our convenience, but also like if we have to refinance or do anything, it just is instant collateral. So, or equity. So what we're doing now is not just for ourselves and the convenience of it, but also building in the potential of, you know, if we had to sell it or move or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, so we get a good return on our initial investment.
So our holding tank will probably go right through here, outside, and that'll line everything up to hopefully work out, get us within the 100-foot range of water coming in from the road that's out there, the main highway, and then the holding tank will go out there, which they told us the way that it's sloped, that's actually perfect for a slope there to put a holding tank in.
Let's look at it.
Let's take a look. We also got to show you some things on the porch.
Yeah. So, so what we're talking about, the holding tank, we'll do that.
Okay.
All right. So initially, I researched and researched and researched. So a lot of the properties around here have septic tanks. Unfortunately, and which are not terribly expensive to do, right? But the issue is that as Pennsylvania is coming to terms with the times and kind of environmental protections and stuff, and to preserve the cleanliness of the water and not contaminate it, they're moving away from traditional septic tanks. So they're doing what's called a sand mound, which is a filtration system. And so they're really big.
Yes.
If you didn't know. And they're just like what they said, they're a mound. And you can't build anything on them. You can't really do anything on
Can't
them.
plant anything but grass on them.
Because if you do, it can collapse, and then you have to basically redo it. So
it would probably have taken like this entire space across, and probably a good 8 to 10 feet wide or tall.
It's pretty big. They actually have a sand mound. You can kind of see it. Not to be looking at our neighbors or anything. Sorry, neighbors. But you can see it out there, that big hill in the distance. So, and because it has to be put in a place where they do a water test, it's called a perk test, which they make sure that there's no like aquifers underneath or things like that.
They also make sure that it drains properly.
Yeah, so it had to be next to, it could only be in that section. So that huge section from near where that tree is, which maybe we might have had to take the tree out because of the root system. So that whole section, probably out to here, would just be sand mound. So if we had to have a vehicle of any sort, we would have to go around, and it just would have been a really big, expensive project.
Yeah.
Doing the sand mound or doing the holding tank, it does require more maintenance, and it does require maintenance regularly. So the idea would be that it would be over here.
Yeah, we're planning on putting it probably right in here.
And it doesn't have to stick out super far. It can be kind of streamlined, which is nice, so that if we do have vehicles come through here, it doesn't block or impede the path of that.
And you can put things on top of it as long as you leave. There's just a hole that they have to pump it out. So a vehicle can come right up from the road, straight up, pump it out, and continue on.
So, and anyways, that whole area up front, most of it is going to be parking lot anyway. So there will be places for a truck to come in, and we have to put a ramp for the future. Anyway, so we just have to be mindful of that, about how we kind of reconfigure things. But super excited that we don't have to spend $25,000 on
hopefully
on a sand mound. Knock on wood.
I know.
But from the estimates that we've gotten, we got one that was significantly less, which is super great because, again, we didn't win the lotto. So we kind of have to keep on our budget. And so that we have to constantly refill.
Yeah.
Because we didn't win the lotto.
This is a question that comes up a lot. People are asking, will you keep it red?
No.
No.
So we're going to paint it kind of a blue color. Originally, this building was white. So I don't feel like that I have to feel like nostalgic to keep the color because it's not the color that it originally was anyways. So we're going to paint it a blue color, like a navy, but a little bit of a brighter navy blue. And then all the trim instead of green is going to be white. And then we're going to paint the roof with a special roof paint that is gray. And like a deep charcoal gray, so that it's a little bit more neutral because the green is really specific.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to paint that a gray color, and that would be nice to have it be a little bit more contemporary. And also at one point, I believe it was at least the outhouse was yellow and blue. Because there's an article that was written by somebody who came out and visited, and they talked about how heaven was an outhouse, which was about our outhouse, which is currently not anywhere close to being heaven-like right now. But they talked about it being yellow and blue.
Yep.
So I don't feel like I kind of let it's grown on me, the red.
I like the red, but I think it's going to be nicer in a blue.
I think it will look cleaner and a little bit more contemporary and actually go a little bit with our neighbors. Not that we want to be matchy, but it'll look fresher for sure.
All right.
Also, along this is the side that gets the most weather. So the shingles are a lot more worn on this side. So we definitely have to repair some of these shingles, but for the most part, it's actually pretty solid. The former owner, I think she was in her late 70s, did all of the shingle work herself because her husband or partner or whatever, he had some serious back issues and wasn't able to do that kind of stuff. So she did it all herself, and she did 2 layers of the inexpensive shingles. So, in theory, we might only have to pry off the first layer and redo the first layer as opposed to having to do it all. So, we'll just have to see. We haven't taken anything down right now because if we take anything down,
we're not there yet.
Yeah, it's kind of like,
don't break it before you're ready to fix it.
It's like, a, like like a canned food, like it's holding itself now, in stasis, but the moment that you open it, it has an expiration date. Because then if it rains or if it snows or who knows what, some kind of element, then the moisture just gets in and all kinds of stuff. And so far, luckily, we've been pretty lucky that the inside has been pretty well maintained. So we don't want to start demolition out here and then, cause more problems because we can't do it right now. All right, let's go and show them
the other work.
The other work.
The other work that our electricians have done.
So they're doing a super awesome job. We're super thankful for them. We just love them to pieces.
Whoop.
So you may be like, whoa.
Whoa, why is that special?
Well, look at this one.
Because this is what we had. If you haven't tuned into these, this is what we had. This is what the old owners did. They weatherproofed with some Scotch tape, but these are indoor outlets on the edge of the porch.
And they're every
You can see that,
often.
yeah.
So these are the way that they're supposed to be so you don't get electrocuted.
Susan says, I hear crickets.
Yeah.
Yes, there's lots of wildlife around here.
I think that's actually...
it's very peaceful. I like it.
It's the one that tells you when the first frost is coming in 6 weeks. So, the first frost, y'all.
First frost? You think so? I don't know about that.
Yeah, you don't think so because it's 90 degrees today. But,
so we now have good, reliable power, properly fitted for outdoor use.
Yeah. So
instead of all of these.
So this is all going to be going away. We're going to put open slots, probably in metal. I had this fantasy in my mind that I was going to make it, the railing. I'm not going to make it. I'm not sturdy enough, and I don't have a big enough area to mass produce all these leaves intertwining in the railings and metal. So sorry.
Pam says more outlets for Christmas lights.
We do. I feel like once we get the porch set up, we're gonna have these bulbs. They almost look like Edison bulbs, and there's a couple places around that have them. They're super cute and super charming. It has a kind of an old school vintage vibe, kind of like a Magnolia from Fixer Upper kind of vibe. So we can hang those up, and it'll be super cute. Just ignore the hanging.
Our hanging baskets that are.
It's been super hot and super dry here, and so they were kind of at the end.
Yeah, they were annuals.
So
we're going to replace those. And then we're going to put electricity up here on the ceiling because we're going to close this in. And
there's going to be beadboard.
There's going to be beadboard along there. And we're going to have some drop-down lights up there as well.
So like this, but less
Well, and
waspy.
actually in the middle.
But less waspy.
Yeah, there's lots of, look at those wasps up in there.
Paper wasp.
Paper wasp nests. See? Scary.
Yeah. I don't mind them because they actually are keeping the carpenter bees away. So no more carpenter bees thanks to the wasps.
Right? Yeah, they got rid of them.
Yeah, I was all like cheering. I've never cheered for a wasp before, but
they killed the carpenter bees.
They drove them away. So thankfully the destruction has halted for this year. And hopefully we'll be able to paint and patch the holes before next year.
Yeah.
And then the reign of terror begins again.
Rebecca says you could keep the hanging baskets and put pumpkins in them.
Yeah, I was thinking about, because they're plastic, I was thinking about painting them with Junk Monkey paint because we know the hookup, right?
Right.
And then we could kind of make, like, embellish them so that they don't look like just a generic plastic.
Put stars on them for Star Cottage.
Like, there's endless things.
He says no, something else.
I mean, you could, but I was thinking like something quick.
Yeah.
Instead of stenciling each one, but we could. I mean,
we're gonna replant them.
Yeah,
I like having flowers here. It looks like somebody's here all the time.
Yeah, so it just depends on what we're gonna put.
I mean, it's like we're here all the time, but
it is at night and daytime, morning time.
I know. We come up in the early morning. We come up late at night.
Yeah, you never know when we're gonna be here, but we're here.
Yep.
So that's good. But yeah, so so the other things that they did, and I don't know if we mentioned this in the last video or not, but here is the well, which is good to have just in case. Like, I feel like it's always good to have like multiple water sources.
Yeah, well, well is great for like watering plants and all the kind of outside water we might need, even if it is iron filled.
Yeah.
Which we don't know if it is up here or not still.
Yeah, because they're down lower.
Yeah, they're down that way further. So they may have iron and we may not. But
yeah, because we're a little bit higher up. And so, and we're also not, there's also it's called, what's it called? Something run. Anyways, there's a creek, as they call it here, that runs through here. And so that has like a wetland over near where they are. And so that may also affect the quality of the water. Mm-hmm. For us, we're a little bit higher up, so we might still have better water. Yeah. You know, you can throw a stone and the water will be completely different.
But no matter what, it's good to have it.
But the thing with the well was there was exposed wires that were submerged in water. And that could have been because of the rain that we had, because it was raining pretty frequently then. The only issue is that he said that if we would have turned the well on while the wires were submerged in water, it would be equivalent to throwing like a radio in the bathtub.
Yeah, we would have had nuclear water.
Yeah, somebody would have gotten electrocuted, basically. So it's a very good thing that they caught that and were able to disconnect that. And they're going to redo it so that it's safe, just in case. And then, I don't know if you all know this or not, because it doesn't necessarily work very well, but there's an air conditioner in the building. So unfortunately, the air conditioner, there were critters that got to the power cables that supplied the energy to the air conditioner.
That ran underneath the building.
And so they had chewed away the coating, which made it super, super dangerous because it's like having an exposed wire.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to redo that. Unfortunately, the air conditioner has given up its ghost, so we might have to find a replacement for that. Ideally, we are looking into. Now, I don't want to. There's like I was going to say a Mitsubishi, but there are multiple brands now. But they're the ones who kind of invented it. It's a ductless system.
Split system.
Yeah, and so. We'll be putting those throughout the building to heat and cool the building.
Yep. Someday. We have to
Hopefully
see.
sooner than later.
I know.
But it all really depends on how much the
plumbing
comes in. Because there are a couple things that, because the sound of the insects and the potential of the 6 weeks being frost time, that kind of lights a fire, no pun intended, on weatherproofing for the winter. So one of our jobs, maybe this weekend or sometime this week, we have to go through with our caulking gun and seal up any holes and replace any broken window panes and weather tight. Make it as weather tight as possible, because otherwise we're gonna be heating the neighborhood.
We also got to work on getting our pellet stove.
We do, and I want to get a pellet stove that is a dual system. So it is a wood burner, but also a pellet stove. They make them mostly in Europe. But that way we can have like a nice fireplace and burn wood and not just have like a utilitarian heating, so that we can have a nice fire and, roast marshmallows or whatever. And do that also, but also have the efficiency of the pellet stove.
Mm-hmm.
Because the pellet stove is significantly more efficient than just a wood burner.
And they heat a big area.
So that's going to be the main source of heat in this section, and the upstairs. And a little bit in here. But part of our next electrical adventure is installing a baseboard heater underneath this window. Originally, we were going to try to salvage the old one, which they also found was incorrectly wired in.
Mm-hmm.
They actually
it was hardwired.
They actually hardwired it into the building. So if you don't know what that means, it means there wasn't a breaker. So if there was a power surge, there was nothing to turn off on the box.
If it started pulling too much energy and overheating, nothing would
burn down the building. Yeah. So they had to disconnect that. And what the plan is to put a French door out here. And the French door will go out onto a small patio section, which will be like a little courtyard. And that sounds very frivolous. We know, courtyard, French doors, fancy. But really, it's a safety concern. So right now, none of the windows in this building open.
Mm-hmm.
So if we need to leave, we either have this door that if it's, if something happens and it's right here, there's the other door, but it only locks from the inside. So, or on the roof where you have to jump.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just face it, I'm not old enough to be jumping off of roofs anymore. Maybe 10-year-old me would do it. Not 10-year-old me is not going to be flinging
You need to get one of those rope ladders to throw out the upstairs.
My luck, it would dry rot in between the time we need it, and then I'd fall to my death. So we're going to put the French doors so that we can have another point of access. Also, the main reason is that if you look the ground comes up to be level with the window, which visually is pretty cool. However, what that does is it causes moisture to come in and seep in and cause issues. And that's because the ground comes up higher. It's like a basement. And you usually don't have like wood floors in a basement like this. So we have to clear away the dirt from there, and that will create less of an issue with moisture kind of wicking up. And we'll probably put French drains along the outside just so that there isn't that constant moisture coming in through.
Yeah, because that's all the way around here. All the way around, the ground is up at window level.
So that's where some of the moisture
They have this
damage.
small trench, but the trenches are still too high.
And they're filling in.
And they're filling in more and more as
time goes on.
Yeah.
Well, also these the trench that's been built, they're done with railroad ties, and it's just, you know, heat, moisture, life. They're starting to rot and fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, we have to kind of fortunately, I'm excited to have a courtyard. Who doesn't want a courtyard?
Right.
But they're gonna dig out, I think 14 feet, 12, 14 feet out this way. They're gonna make it level with the foundation of the building. And then it's gonna be a little bit lower because we'll have to put concrete in the bottom of it.
And Tracy said French doors would also make it handicap accessible.
It is accessible from the back. So if push comes to shove and we can't afford to do the ramp, we can still
make it work.
We can still make it work. And our goal is to make this building as accessible as possible, because we know people who have challenges, mobility issues, and we would hate for them to feel unwelcome.
Mm-hmm.
But also part of being in the state of Pennsylvania, actually across the country, especially any place where people are going to come, they have to have accessibility, the ADA compliance. So that will help with that as well. I don't know how much it would actually in theory help, because they'll be on a retention wall. And so unless they've got like mountain climbing equipment, I don't know if that will help. But
it's another entrance and exit.
Know. And we don't know if we're going to connect the courtyard, is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So if we connect the courtyard and make the path like all the way around the building, then sure. But if we just have it dug out here, then we'll just have like steps built in and then put a railing around the top of it so nobody falls to their death.
Tracy said the views from the windows are lovely.
They are.
I love looking back here into the woods.
Me too. And at dusk, this all lights up with fireflies, which is pretty amazing. We also got a rototiller because I was using a hand one. And I can show it to you. So I was using this, which actually works fairly well. However, you get
there's a lot of land to get through.
This much surface removed, and it's been super hot. So I'll maybe get like a couple feet a day, and I mean, by the time I got the front cleared up, it already started growing back.
Yeah.
So we just got a rototiller. It should be in a couple days, and then I should be able to knock out the flower beds in like 2 days. And that way we can have nice flower beds. We're going to put down, as we move stuff in, we're getting cardboard boxes. So what we're going to do, instead of throwing away or burning the cardboard boxes, is we're going to use the cardboard boxes as a weed mat. So we're gonna cut all our cardboard boxes up and kind of play Tetris and create a nice level surface across that we then put mulch on top of. And that way we won't have to continually weed every single year. The cardboard is also biodegradable, which will break down eventually. So it isn't like a plastic weed mat, which we've used before. But the only issue with that is it doesn't break down. So sometimes you'll get like a tuft of black weed mat come up through your flower bed. So we're going to do that, and I think it will look really nice. I'm going to put black mulch. Usually we do a lot of like stuff with red mulch, but I think the black will look really nice with the white trim and the blue on the shingles.
Oh, Janice Cat says, I'm bummed my husband actually has a business trip planned for Pittsburgh at the end of the month, and I was going to go with him and make a special trip to visit you guys. But things are going with COVID. My doctor says no travel.
Oh, that's sad.
It is.
That's another thing that I didn't really want to talk about, but I guess we should maybe pull the bandage off. So, as some of you know, William and I are planning to get married. Our original plan was to get married in November. And the idea was that we were going to have a pretty simple ceremony because we got a cottage instead of spending all the money on a wedding. But we were going to have a kind of retreat style weekend as our like celebration. But unfortunately, with the way things are going with COVID, it just doesn't look like we're going to be able to do that and do it in good
safely. Yeah.
So I hate to say this, but it's going to be like immediate friends and family. Originally, we were just going to open it up to anybody who wanted to come and celebrate with us. But we have to keep things small so that we can socially distance and keep the health and safety of everybody as a priority. Because they're saying that the Delta variant or Lambda or whatever, the upcoming ones, even if you are vaccinated, there is a chance of, and actually a higher chance of getting sick. So we don't want to do that. And so I think to be prudent, we're just going to start scaling things back now. We're still going to try to have things online and try to stream the ceremony. It's going to be super simple and easy, but
Tracy says you can always have a wedding anniversary retreat next year.
Yeah, and we're just going to do it as safely as possible. I feel bad because in my mind, William and I have been together for 14 years. So, like, while it is like a super special thing and it's like a commitment thing, and for us, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's historic, but because we are a part of the LGBTQIA community, it is important to establish those rights if they're an option. But from a legal standpoint, they're super important in case something happens to either one of us. It just, being a spouse, you just get so much, it's so much easier than if you are a civil partner. So it is important that we do this, but really for us, for our wedding, and I know this sounds weird, but it's not so much about us, but it was about our community. I feel like our relationship has been one that has been supported and upheld by all of you out there. We could not be able to do all the things we do. I see a carpenter bee. Hey, wasp. Okay, so anyways, so we couldn't do all the things we do without the support of all of you. So part of our wedding was kind of a celebration of that community and those ties that we have with our friends and family who have empowered us to live the life we do. So I was a little bit disappointed by the fact that we're having to scale things back again, because originally I had these outlandish, crazy ideas, but we just don't feel comfortable having tons of people, and then something might happen, and then I would feel so guilty if somebody came
absolutely.
and they got sick and died, because of our wedding,
Right.
So we're just gonna scale things back, and we're gonna try to still keep the flavor as much as we can, but mostly move it online.
Yeah.
So sorry, y'all.
We may still stream it, or do we have to see if we're allowed to do things like that?
Yeah, because we'll probably do it in the courthouse.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it just depends on how much gets finished here.
Right.
If we finish everything, we're gonna have it here. If it's not done, then it's not as important because there won't be as many people. But I was talking to my niece Azalea about using the outhouse.
She would prefer a bathroom.
Yeah. and Cynthia was like, "Can we stay at the cottage when we come and visit?" And I was like, "Maybe, but y'all might need a flashlight to go to the outhouse." And the kids' eyes, they got wide like $50, and the horror.
Janice is asking, when is your wedding date? Ours is November 13th.
So our anniversary is November 11th. 12th.
11/12/07.
11/12. I feel that what day was it? Does that count the nighttime?
That is the day we actually met. Now you go into the next one, it's the 13th.
So our date was past midnight. So technically it's 12/13. I count 11 too.
The day we just talked about it.
Yeah, it's all together.
But yeah, it's really 11/12 is the.
But the date that we're going to get married is the 5th of November. And that way, because the 11th is a holiday, a national holiday, so we didn't know if the courthouses would be closed. Also, the further we go into November, the more chances there'll be snow or ice.
Plus the Great Beat Extravaganza
is also that weekend. And we were like, oh, maybe we'll do our segment as our wedding.
We could just get married on the Great Beat Extravaganza.
Wouldn't that be fun? But then I was also like, what if people are not interested in that?
Yeah.
And then
8,000 or 9,000 people in that group may not be interested in seeing that.
Yeah. And then also there might, I'm not saying that anybody is going to be like homophobic or whatever, but in case there are people who are coming to terms with.
There are also tons of people who have no idea who we are.
Yeah.
So why would they?
Why are we watching these two dudes?
We're supposed to be watching projects.
Where's the beads, y'all? There'll be beads.
Right.
Our engagement, instead of engagement rings, we actually have engagement beads.
We do.
Our friend Ann Choi made them special for us, and they have the quote that William is going to say.
Petit à petit, les deux oiseaux fait son nid.
Say it again.
No, fait leur nid. I'm trying to translate in French properly. Petit à petit, les deux oiseaux fait leur nid. Font leur nid. Font leur nid.
So say it in English.
Little by little, the two birds build their nest.
So originally, the quote is, little by little, the bird builds its nest. But since we're two of us.
That's right.
And we're building this nest, which you're seeing.
This and our whole life.
And our house and our cats and our
store
and everything. That's kind of our thing, little by little, which we're doing it little by little. So I think that's it. I feel as though there was more stuff that we had done. I've been away for a week, so that kind of slowed stuff down because I was blacksmithing all week. And so
late nights, early mornings.
So I got up at 7 in the morning every morning, and then I came home and we ate dinner, and then I fell asleep. Like normally I sleep like 3 hours a night.
Yeah,
Now I
use-
know how to sleep more.
Just
Is
pound away at some metal.
pound away at the metal, get mildly dehydrated from not drinking enough water, and then drive an hour and a half each way. You'll sleep like a baby.
Tracy says it's a beautiful quote to represent your life together. And Molly says you did a lot. We have done a lot.
We have.
We have to congratulate ourselves a little bit.
I think we could have done more.
Of course. Andrew's always a more person.
I am. And I know, like, I took some classes, and the teachers are like, what is this? I'm not going to say it. I was just about to say some bad words. But I was like, what is this fool? I can say fool. Why is he so down on it? I'm a good teacher, and he's talking smack. But that's just my thing, is it's not a reflection on the teachers or on myself, really. It's just like I always want to push myself as far as I can. So if I do a project, I want that project to be really successful and to learn a lot. And so sometimes when I have that self-deprecating humor, which I know is just a coping mechanism for generational trauma, I read the book, whatever. I could probably write a book about it. So yeah, so sometimes I'm really hard on myself and those around me. So enjoy.
Enjoy.
But I feel like that push and drive helps us to far exceed the expectations of others. So if you didn't have that person who was always pushing, you would never rise to the ascension of your
get this arm
life
movement in here. And with that, I think that's a good closing point, right? Purpose.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. Or do whatever you want.
All right, let me try and flip this camera around so we can just say a quick goodbye real quick here. All right. So thank you all for tuning in. We've put listed down here if you'd like to follow us. If you're not already watching this in the Star Cottage Studio Facebook page, please join that. Hit like, follow.
Do it.
Do it. And then we can make sure that we're going to try and stream all these locations for you. So if you're on YouTube watching us, thank you so much. I've not seen many YouTube comments pop up, but if you're out there, thank you for watching. Please subscribe. If you're on Facebook, please hit that share button. And everywhere you are, hit that little bell so you are notified when we go live.
And once we get the Star Cottage Studio more set up, we'll be able to do more digital content. So we'll have a place that's a dedicated space to stream from.
Yes.
So right now we kind of are using his office or at the store or wherever. And this setup we have to break down and put up and do all this and jump through 2 hoops and run down the stairs and run up the stairs. And then I start sneezing. So
for some reason you're not sneezing now.
I know, because we have like a dedicated space. Imagine that. So the more people who support our YouTube channel, our Facebook, our whatever,
everything.
Instagram, all those things, the more people who are involved and are part of our community, the rising tide raises all boats, and we can be more successful in what we're doing and what we're offering.
That's right. So thank you all for your support. And we will see you back here. Andrew will see you back here tomorrow, right?
Yes.
First time in a few weeks.
I think what I'm going to do, I was on last week.
Did
just
you?
Not during my time schedule.
Yeah, that's right.
What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the things that I've been making.
Yeah.
I think that'll be fun. Maybe I'll sneak a project in there. We'll see.
Who knows? Who knows? But we'll be back tomorrow.
I'll figure out 15 minutes before I go on. So
tomorrow around 5 p.m. See you all there. Thanks, everybody. Bye now.